Growing up, my sister Mia and I were always close, or so I thought. We had shared everything from childhood secrets to teenage dreams. But there was always a subtle difference between us. Mia was the golden child. She was always admired for her beauty, her charm, and the way people gravitated toward her. As we got older, I felt the comparison more. Mia seemed to have it all. And then she married Ryan, a wealthy businessman with connections to the upper echelons of society. Ryan was everything Mia had dreamed of. He gave her a luxurious lifestyle that many could only fantasize about. Mansions, exotic vacations, expensive designer clothes. It was all part of her new life. The more she flaunted it, the more I couldn't help but feel this growing tension between us. It wasn't jealousy at first, but soon it turned into something far worse. It wasn't long after Mia's wedding that I began noticing subtle changes in her behavior. We were no longer the sisters who shared everything. She would drop hints about how lucky I was to have a modest lifestyle, as if I should be thankful that I didn't have the pressure of being wealthy. When I got engaged to my boyfriend, Ben, she barely hid her distaste. He's a great guy, but is he really the type of man who can give you the life you deserve? She would ask, raising an eyebrow. At first, I brushed it off, thinking I was being overly sensitive. But after every comment, every offhand remark, it became clear. Mia thought she was better than me because she had married rich, and that idea was eating me up from the inside. Every time we gathered as a family, Mia made sure to bring up her extravagant lifestyle. At Thanksgiving dinner, while everyone discussed what they were grateful for, Mia casually mentioned the luxury yacht they were booking for their upcoming vacation. She then turned to me and said, "It's so sweet you and Ben are planning your wedding on such a small budget. You know, you really don't need all that excess. I mean, I used to be like you." My jaw clenched. It was as if she was saying that my life, my choices, were somehow inferior to hers. The breaking point came one Christmas when Mia bought everyone expensive gifts that left me feeling like I couldn't compete. She had spent thousands on each person, while I had carefully selected meaningful but less extravagant presents. Mia made a big show of handing out her gifts, ensuring everyone saw the price tags. When she got to me, she handed me a small box with a barely noticeable brand name. "You can't expect too much, can you?" she said with a smirk. I tried to stay composed, but inside, I was seething. It was clear to me now. Mia wasn't just flaunting her wealth. She was using it to measure her worth against mine, and she was winning. I knew I couldn't change Mia's attitude, but I was determined not to let her think she was better than me. I started focusing on what made me unique, what I could control, and excel in. I may not have married into wealth, but I had something else: ambition, drive, and resilience. It was time to show Mia that success wasn't defined by the money you married into, but by what you achieved on your own. I started a side business selling handmade jewelry, something I had always been passionate about. Slowly, it began to gain traction. I started building a reputation, and for the first time, I felt a sense of independence that I had never felt before. My jewelry business began to grow faster than I expected. I put all my energy into it, dedicating nights to perfecting designs and marketing. The recognition I received started to build my confidence. It wasn't just about proving Mia wrong anymore. It was about proving to myself that I could succeed without relying on anyone else. One day, I received a message from a popular influencer asking to feature my designs in one of her videos. This was a huge break, and it felt like my hard work was finally paying off. When Mia heard about the collaboration, she acted polite but dismissive. "That's cute, you know," she said with a half smile. I didn't know influencers were into that kind of stuff. Her tone wasn't one of encouragement. It was a backhanded compliment, as though she couldn't believe I was making something of myself without the help of a wealthy husband. But I didn't care. Her words only fueled my determination. A few months later, my business was doing better than expected. I was invited to a local fashion show to showcase my jewelry line. The event was attended by high-end designers, influencers, and industry professionals. Mia showed up with Ryan, of course, looking radiant in a designer gown, her arm looped through his. When she saw me, I could see the judgment in her eyes until she saw the buzz surrounding my display. People were talking, taking photos, and admiring my work. Mia couldn't hide her jealousy anymore. So, this is your big moment, huh? She said when we were briefly alone, as if trying to belittle my achievements. You're really going to compete with designers who have actual capital behind them? Before I could respond, Ryan walked up, and Mia quickly switched to her sweet, charming persona. But I had heard enough. This wasn't about her wealth anymore. This was about the fact that Mia was scared. Scared that I was doing something she couldn't take credit for, that I had built something on my own, something that was mine. I stopped trying to prove myself to Mia. I focused on my own growth. I hired my first employee and expanded my business. Mia's criticism started to fall on deaf ears. With every piece of jewelry I sold, with every positive review, I built a foundation for myself that was untouchable by her and her money. Ryan tried to convince me to join their lifestyle, maybe work for one of his companies, or take it easy for a while. But I had already made my decision. I wasn't going to live off someone else's success. I was going to build my own. By the time my brand was featured in a major online fashion magazine, I had built something truly remarkable. I wasn't just running a jewelry business. I was creating a legacy. I received recognition from industry experts and influencers, and my designs were worn by people I once thought were out of my league. Mia's comments, once a source of pain, had lost their sting. I was no longer measuring my success against hers, or anyone else's. I had built something that was uniquely mine. The final confrontation came during a family reunion. We were all sitting together, enjoying dinner, when Mia brought up her latest charity event, boasting about the millions Ryan had donated to a cause close to their hearts. Her tone wasn't one of humility. It was pride, as if she was trying to show everyone who had the real power. I stood up, calmly but firmly, and said, I'm proud of what you're doing, Mia, but I don't need to rely on Ryan's money to make a difference. I'm creating my own success, and I'm going to continue doing it without relying on anyone else. Mia was taken aback. For the first time in years, I felt like I had finally found my voice. And in that moment, I realized that I wasn't just proving her wrong. I was proving to myself that I could accomplish anything. Mia's attitude shifted. She became less condescending and more reserved. It was clear that her wealth no longer made her feel superior to me. The reality was that she had become trapped in a life that was defined by her marriage, by Ryan's money. I, on the other hand, was defining my own life on my own terms. The change in Mia didn't go unnoticed by our family. My parents, who had always compared us, started to see that success came in many forms. Mia's wealth wasn't the only form of success. I had earned my place in this world, not because of who I married or the wealth I had access to, but because of what I had created. And the respect I received was far more valuable than anything Mia had. As time went on, Mia and I began to rebuild our relationship, not based on competition or comparison, but on mutual respect. I no longer felt the need to prove anything to her or anyone else. She saw me for who I truly was, someone capable of creating something from nothing. We still had our differences, but we learned to support each other in ways we hadn't before. I had proven my worth, not by matching her wealth, but by matching her ambition. Now, as my business continues to grow, I know that the rivalry is over. Mia and I may never fully understand each other, but we've learned to accept our differences. And I know that no matter what happens, I will continue to prove to myself and to the world that true success is about more than wealth. It's about hard work, perseverance, and believing in yourself. The story isn't just about me proving Mia wrong. It's about proving to everyone, including myself, that success is something you build on your own, regardless of who you marry or what you're born into. As my business continued to gain momentum, I was approached by a high-profile investor who was interested in forming a partnership. This was the opportunity one had been waiting for, but it came with its own set of challenges. The investor wanted to scale up my brand quickly, but this meant I would have to relinquish some control over creative decisions. It was an easy choice, but I realized that to truly grow, I needed to trust others and embrace change. The partnership agreement was signed, and soon my designs were being sold in high-end department stores. The dream I once thought was impossible was now a reality. I had gone from selling at local pop-up shops to having a global platform. With success came new pressures. I was no longer just a small business owner. I was now managing a growing empire. The pressure to constantly innovate and stay relevant weighed heavily on me. But I wasn't about to let stress take over my life again. I began practicing mindfulness, taking regular breaks, and focusing on self-care. I knew the key to long-term success wasn't just about the hustle. It was about balance. Slowly, I learned to delegate tasks and build a strong team around me. The more I trusted my team, the easier it became to scale my business without losing my sanity. During a family gathering, my parents finally came to terms with how far I had come. They admitted that they had always been concerned about my choices, worried I'd never achieve the success that Mia had. But seeing the growth of my business and the recognition I was receiving, they understood that my path had been different, but no less successful. Mia, on the other hand, was still adjusting to the changes. At first, she remained distant, but as she saw my achievements, I could sense that the rivalry was finally dying down. It wasn't about competing with each other anymore. It was about mutual respect. One afternoon, Mia called me. It had been a while since we had really talked. She apologized for the way she had treated me over the years, how she had belittled my success, and how she had tried to make me feel like I was inferior because I wasn't married to someone rich. I was wrong, she admitted. I thought that money meant everything. But seeing you build something from nothing, something that's all your own, it's taught me that real success isn't about wealth. It's about heart and drive. I appreciated her apology, but I knew it wasn't the end of our relationship. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where we could support each other rather than compete. By now, my brand had expanded internationally. My jewelry was featured in several prominent fashion magazines, and top celebrities began wearing my designs. The partnership I had entered with the investor had proven to be a good decision. My team was growing, and we had started working on creating an exclusive collection for a luxury retailer in Europe. Through it all, I never lost sight of my original vision, to create something meaningful that people could connect with. As sales soared, I felt a sense of fulfillment that went beyond financial gain. My work was being recognized for its quality, creativity, and authenticity. As my success continued to build, I began feeling a deep sense of guilt. I had so much: financial stability, a successful business, and even a supportive partner in Ben. Yet, there were moments when I questioned whether it had all come at the expense of my family relationships. I had distanced myself from my parents for a while, unable to cope with the expectations they placed on me. But I knew that I had to make peace with my past if I was going to move forward. I took a trip to visit them, and we spent the weekend reconnecting. It was healing, and I realized that their love and support meant more to me than any material success. My next big step was creating a foundation dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs. I wanted to give back to the community that had supported me and help other women who were trying to start their own businesses. The foundation focused on providing mentorship, financial education, and networking opportunities for women in underserved communities. I wanted to show the world that success wasn't just about selling a product. It was about creating opportunities for others to thrive. During the next few months, I learned a hard lesson. Success comes with its own set of challenges. One of my biggest suppliers fell through, and it caused a major delay in our product shipments. My clients were upset, and I found myself dealing with complaints that I couldn't solve immediately. I wanted panic, but I knew I had to remain calm. I spent hours negotiating with new suppliers and finding solutions. After a few weeks of hard work, we got back on track. The experience taught me that setbacks are a part of any journey, but resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. I started to spend more time with the women I had mentored through my foundation. Their stories inspire me more than I ever expected. One young woman, Priya, had started her own skincare line, and after months of hard work, she had secured a spot in a major retailer. Watching her succeed was more gratifying than anything else I had accomplished. Through this experience, I realized that success isn't just about the material rewards. It's about creating a ripple effect of positive change. I had built a business, but now I was building a legacy. I had learned to trust in myself and my abilities. For years, I had measured my worth against others, especially Mia. But I finally realized that the only person I needed to compete with was myself. With every challenge I faced, I grew stronger, more confident, and more sure of who I was and what I wanted. I stopped seeking validation from others, including Mia. My path was my own, and that was enough. As time passed, Mia began to shift her focus. She started her own project, something that was important to her beyond her marriage to Ryan. While she still enjoyed the perks of being wealthy, Mia realized that success wasn't about the size of the house or the number of vacations you took. We had both come to terms with the fact that our lives didn't need to be compared. We were on different journeys, but we were both making a difference in our own ways. One of the most important lessons I learned was the value of patience. Success doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't come without hard work. I had to learn to trust the process, even when things felt slow or uncertain. There were times when I wanted to give up, but I knew that staying the course would eventually lead to the results I wanted. This lesson carried over into my personal life as well. I stopped rushing everything, whether it was growing my business or building relationships. Patience became a cornerstone of my life. As I became more successful, I realized that I had neglected some of my old friendships. I had been so focused on proving myself that I had lost touch with the people who had been there for me from the start. I made an effort to reconnect with old friends, and we spent weekends catching up. It was a reminder that success wasn't just about business. It was about the relationships you built along the way. With my business flourishing, I decided to take on a new challenge, opening a flagship store in New York City. The city that never sleeps was the perfect place to showcase my brand to the world. But opening a store in Hard Manhattan came with its own set of obstacles. Permits, construction delays, and of course, the financial burden. But I wasn't afraid of the challenge. I had been through too much to back down now. The store opened to great fanfare and became a beacon for my brand. It wasn't just a store. It was a symbol of everything I had built. As I watched my business grow, I realized that my priorities were shifting. My work was important, but my family and personal well-being needed to be prioritized as well. I made time for the things that truly mattered, my partner, my health, and the friendships that had supported me throughout my journey. Success wasn't just about working harder. It was about living a balanced life. I started to practice gratitude more consistently. Every day, I took a moment to reflect on the things I was thankful for, whether it was supportive team, my health, or the opportunity to help others. Gratitude became a grounding force in my life. This shift in mindset helped me stay focused on what truly mattered and gave me the strength to keep pushing forward, even when things got tough. By now, I had achieved far more than I ever thought possible. But I didn't measure my success by the amount of money I made or the recognition I received. I measured it by the impact I had on others. My foundation, my business, and the lives I had touched along the way defined my success. Success, I realized, wasn't just about what you had. It was about what you gave. One evening, as I sat on the balcony of my apartment, watching the city lights flicker below, I reflected on everything I had achieved. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth every struggle. I had proven to myself that I was capable of achieving greatness on my own, without the help of anyone else. Mia had evolved as well. She had found a new purpose in life, focusing on philanthropy and giving back to the community. It wasn't the life I had expected her to lead, but it was the life she had chosen. Our rivalry had faded, replaced by mutual respect and understanding. We were no longer in competition. We were allies. As I looked ahead to the future, I knew there were still challenges to face. But I had the tools, the mindset, and the confidence to face whatever came my way. I had proven that success was about more than just wealth. It was about persistence, growth, and helping others along the way. And I was just getting started. As my brand grew, so did the complexities of running a business. Expanding into international markets came with its own set of challenges. I had to navigate customs regulations, international shipping logistics, and adapting my marketing strategies for different cultures. The pressure of meeting global demand was mounting, but I was determined to make this work. I brought in experts to help me with international business operations, and soon we began seeing success across Europe and Asia. My jewelry was now being worn by influencers and celebrities in places I had never dreamed of. The recognition was overwhelming, but I knew this was just the beginning. With all the business demands, I hadn't spent much quality time with my family, especially my parents. I decided to plan a family trip, a getaway to the countryside for a week. It wasn't about luxury. It was about reconnecting with the people who had been there for me from the beginning. During this trip, I learned a lot about myself. I wasn't just a businesswoman. I was a daughter, a sister, and a friend. It helped me refocus my energy on the things that mattered most. I realized that I didn't have to sacrifice my personal life for my business. Both could coexist if I found the right balance. As I became more successful, I found it increasingly difficult to let go of control. I was a perfectionist and had a hard time trusting others to make decisions for my brand. I realized that if I wanted to grow even further, I needed to learn how to delegate and trust my team. The process was difficult at first. I would micromanage, double-checking every decision and second-guessing the people I had hired. But over time, I started letting go, allowing my team to take ownership. This shift allowed me to focus on the bigger picture and freed up my time to be more strategic. Despite my success, not everything went smoothly. I launched a new product line, and it didn't do as well as expected. The designs were beautiful, but the market wasn't ready for the bold shift I had made. Instead of letting the failure define me, I saw it as an opportunity to learn. I took a step back, assessed what went wrong, and used that failure as fuel to improve. It was a humbling experience, but one that made me stronger as a business owner. The failure wasn't the end. It was a lesson in resilience and adaptability. One day, I received a message from an old friend, Clara, who I hadn't spoken to in years. She was someone I had been close to before my life got busy with business. She apologized for losing touch and asked if we could meet up. We met for coffee, and Clara shared her own struggles of running a small business. We spent hours talking about everything from business tactics to personal growth. Reconnecting with Clara was a reminder that friendships weren't just about success. They were about supporting each other through the ups and downs of life. With the growing success of my brand came a level of fame I wasn't entirely prepared for. People started recognizing me in public, and my social media following skyrocketed. While it was flattering at first, the constant attention began to feel invasive. I realized that fame wasn't just about recognition. It came with its own set of sacrifices. I had to be more careful about what I posted and who I interacted with online. The pressure to maintain a perfect image was exhausting, and I found myself longing for the days when I could go out without being recognized. But I knew that the platform I had built also gave me the ability to influence others in positive ways, and I had to find a balance between my private life and public persona. The growth of my foundation became one of my proudest accomplishments. I had always wanted to give back, and after years of hard work, I finally hosted my first major charity event. It was a fundraiser for women entrepreneurs, and it was a massive success. The event raised enough money to provide scholarships and mentorship programs for dozens of aspiring businesswomen. Seeing the impact my foundation had on these women filled me with pride. I realized that this was the kind of success that mattered most, empowering others to follow their dreams. A few months later, a major setback hit. A competitor with deep pockets and a large following launched a jewelry collection that was eerily similar to mine. The timing was no coincidence. They had clearly been watching my designs. I was devastated, feeling betrayed and threatened. But I didn't let fear consume me. Instead of letting this competitor take me down, I leaned into my creativity and resilience. I came up with an even more innovative collection, one that took my brand to new heights. In the end, the competition helped me push my boundaries and be even more authentic in my designs. Mia, who had once been so focused on her marriage to Ryan, found a new sense of purpose. After years of living in Ryan's shadow, she decided to start her own business. It wasn't easy, and she faced many of the same challenges I had faced, but it was inspiring to see her find her own path. Mia reached out to me for advice, and we began collaborating in a way that we hadn't before. Our rivalry turned into collaboration, and I was proud to see her pursuing something she was passionate about on her own terms. The success of my business and foundation made me realize that I could do more. I decided to expand my vision and open up a training center for women entrepreneurs. This center would offer courses on everything from business strategy to branding, helping women from all walks of life learn how to start and run their own successful ventures. It wasn't just about selling jewelry anymore. It was about leaving a legacy of empowerment and knowledge that would impact generations to come. Through all the success, failures, and growth, Ben and I had remained a constant. He had been my rock from the beginning, supporting me when I was uncertain, and celebrating with me when I succeeded. Our relationship had faced its own challenges, especially with the demands of my growing business, but we had always communicated and supported each other. Ben proposed to me in a quiet, intimate moment on a rooftop overlooking the city. I said yes, knowing that no matter where life took us, we had built something solid and beautiful together. One of the most fulfilling aspects of my success was the ability to give back. I spent time mentoring young women, offering them guidance and support. The most rewarding moments were when I saw them succeed, whether it was launching a business or securing funding for a project. I realized that the true measure of success wasn't just about what I had accomplished, but what I had helped others achieve. Empowering the next generation was now my life's mission. As I continued to innovate and grow, my brand became a symbol of more than just high-quality jewelry. It became a symbol of empowerment and resilience. The designs now carry deeper meanings, each collection telling a story of strength, overcoming adversity, and finding beauty in life's challenges. The expansion into new markets was just the beginning. I had plans to create a global network of women-led businesses, working together to support one another and create opportunities in every corner of the world. Looking back on everything I had achieved, I realized that my journey was never just about the success I had built for myself. It was about the impact I had on others and the lessons I had learned along the way. I had faced rejection, competition, failure, and doubt, but each obstacle had only made me stronger. I had proven to myself that success wasn't defined by wealth, marriage, or external validation. It was about resilience, hard work, and believing in yourself when no one else did. And that, to me, was the greatest success of all.